Well, this is James Com, the guy on the bike, and today we're out here at English Kills, and we're going to take a tour through the Hoggard Wagner collection. Okay, and we're going to be talking to Barry and James, and this lovely young lady is going to be leading the tour. Austin Thomas, go ahead, darling.
Well, let's start here.
Okay.
Nothing like starting where we are now. I mean, this is one of my favorite walls, but I was going to say that every wall has something really, really special, just like their apartment.
How many pieces do you have out here in this exhibition?
43.
43 pieces.
Oh, I'm sorry, 46.
46. But this is only a part of your collection, all right? Or?
It was selected by Chris from what was on the walls, and there's about 325 on the wall.
Wow.
Maybe a little over 900 altogether in flat files and elsewhere.
How long have you guys been collecting?
Well, we've been together 20 years, so I started before that, but more intensely after we got together, I think.
Okay.
Especially the mid-90s on. Yeah, we started ArtCat because mostly we started it originally because of Chelsea, because once Chelsea hit 300 galleries, it was too hard to keep track of fringe shows and which things we wanted to see. So rather than try to keep that in a Word document or on a pad of paper, we just created a website to keep track of things, and then gradually it got bigger, and now it covers everywhere.
Has that informed a lot of your collecting?
I wouldn't say it informed our collecting. I'd say the calendar was created because we were trying to organize our lists of all the galleries and shows we wanted to know about.
In some efficient way, and the calendar started out, as he said, Chelsea, so it was easy to go from one numbered street to another, and from east to west.
Well, tell us about some of the pieces. How about the Keith Haring piece?
That, actually, I got, I think, before we were
That's
together.
before us, yeah.
It was the last piece, as I understand it.
Is that a silkscreen or is that an original?
It's a print. No, it's a print. It's
okay.
A large edition, but I got it through a UNESCO and/or post office offer to help.
Post office.
Well, it was also for UNESCO. I mean, the money went to UNESCO, and it's a large edition that he authorized, and well, he created and authorized, but he died just before before it was finally printed, and he couldn't sign them, so it's stamped by the collection.
How about the Dave Humphrey piece?
That came from, well, the Keith Haring piece first. That's called United Nations Fight AIDS Worldwide. It's from 1990. David Humphrey. It's called Couples. It's from 1992. He told us after we got it that it was partially based on photographs from his parents' wedding, their wedding dinner.
That is a David Reed painting.
I thought that piece was like embroidery when I first saw it. It's got such an optical illusion to it.
Actually, David is a great guy. How about this the black circular piece?
D-E-E-S-E.
Rupert Dees.
And we got that through Art Resources Transfer and at a benefit. Love it. It's actually a very thin plywood or many layered wood panel, just molded, covered with gesso and painted. So it has a immense.
I know that this piece was very popular at the opening, the pretzel. Who's this by?
Bruce High Quality Foundation.
The Bruce High Quality Foundation.
They sold it as a New York pretzel.
Jules de Belancourt, Land of Many Uses. And is that from his first exhibition?
Yes, we got it just before his first show. It was the title of the first show, and he
Right.
borrowed it back, or the gallery did for the show. What else? It's one of our favorites also.
It was nice. He came by for the opening, and
Yes.
he lives not too far away from here.
He's a good guy.
You know, I have a question actually for Chris, who's over here, because I think one of the most interesting things about this show is the way that it's hung here. And I wanted to start on this wall, but I mean, the curation, the installation is phenomenal.
Well, this wall I thought to have what I call the UFO, the round symbol black piece in the middle. I thought it was a good thing to center around, and it was also just a practical way to put smaller pieces on one wall rather than alternate them with large ones. And it also pays homage to the way their apartment looks, sort of, the salon style. And as Jules de Belancourt is placed above their doorway just like that. So it kind of looks exactly like that in their home.
This way. Now, I mean, it's pretty remarkable here that we have some big names, some famous art, and there's a lot in here. Louise Fishman.
Who has an exhibition up right now at Kyman Reed? Is that correct?
She has 3 exhibitions.
3 exhibitions.
Well, she has 2 in New York.
2 in New York.
This is my favorite painting, I think, in the show. But there are...
And when is this from? Do we know what year this is?
This is from 1994.
94.
We didn't have a painting.
Okay.
We had a work on paper when we got this that she had given us because I had spent a lot of time helping her with computer problems.
And then just to jump around, sort of, there's the... Is this a Joyce Pensado?
Yes.
Joyce Pensado.
We have 2 Joyce Pensado works. Both of them are Mickeys. This one's movie Mickey, as in film. The other one is the reverse of this. It's white with black and scraped around as she does. But the other one, this had been in the flat file. This is the only exception of something that wasn't on the wall.
You guys have been kind of a supporter of Joyce for quite a while, right?
Crazy about her and her work. She's a Brooklyn artist in every sense.
Yeah, she is. She's totally Brooklyn. You guys also seem to have a kind of an interest in photography. Is that a particular part of your collecting?
Well, I've always
Right,
been
you're a photographer.
And the partner I moved to New York with was an art photographer. And so I myself, I probably acquired more photography at the beginning than anything else. And people used to think that's what we collected. But obviously it's not the case now.
Kiki Smith here, beautiful.
Yeah, I was impressed with this.
It's a large edition, what is it, 230. But we got it when our names were called at a Momenta benefit, very early, if not first.
Yeah, at one of the Momenta benefits we got called first or second, and this was our choice.
It's a really interesting point that a lot of this work, like ArtCat, was purchased at benefit. That the way you collect is a way of supporting a community of artists, but it's also that you really like all the arts and that you see a way of buying at benefits and doing ArtCat as a way of supporting a bigger community.
I think one of the reasons why we collected so much, especially early on in the 90s, was before we had blogs and before the internet was as useful for the art world, and it was how we could support emerging artists and galleries. A lot of the work is from the very beginning of an artist's career. There are quite a few works that are the first work that an artist sold. And now that we have the internet, I think that became one of our other ways of supporting emerging artists and writers instead. And also we were running out of space. So it was another way to provide that support.
And the value to to us, or the appreciation of the art never did depend on money, but we never had much. I mean, we paid very little for any individual work, partly because they were all emerging artists. It never occurred to us, and nor was it possible for us to buy mid-career artists' work.
Well, I think this is an important issue because I talk to a lot of artists, and they're always kind of conflicted about being asked to donate works, because a lot of various organizations, Nurture Art, WagMag, lots of places, every year they have their little benefit auction, and so there's a lot of artists that are sort of going, geez, I don't know if I can keep doing this. But what you're saying is that it's been very helpful. Not only do you have a chance to support these organizations, but then you get this work into your collection, and you also show the collection to a lot of people, and other collectors get to know about the work. And so in a lot of ways, artists are benefiting more than just getting their work out at the benefit. After it goes into your collection, they're still getting some attention and things like that from the donations.
It remains visible. In fact, it usually becomes more visible once we acquire it. And of course, the benefit is also ours. We get to live with it in the meantime.
I always recommend to young artists that are talking about starting out in New York to see if you can get your pieces and benefits like Momenta or Nurture Art, because that's actually how we discovered an awful lot of artists that we didn't know before.
That's a great
and that
point.
We're now friends with.
Great point.
Another interesting installation and some provocative pieces, and seems to go together in an interesting narrative, but this isn't the way it is in your apartment. But do you want to talk about these pieces? Maybe starting here?
The large piece is by Hiroshi Tsuneri, and it's very early work by him. It's 2000. The symbols up at the top are the letters EH, because he called this work Early Hiroshi. This period he called Early Hiroshi. The title of it is EH Putti, because we told him that these little figures made us think of the putti or cupids in Italian work.
Now this is
it's a photo collage.
Photo collage.
And this wall is one of the most interesting to me because of what Chris did with it. We jokingly call this kind of like, this is the sex wall or the sexy wall, because two of the four pieces on it I didn't really think about as having any relation to sex or sexiness when I first saw them.
I just want to interrupt you, Barry. Sorry, that this piece was gotten at Pocket Utopia.
Yes, that is from the Fine Art Adoption Network show. It's by Jason Simon.
Do you want to talk about that at all? I mean, there is, I don't know, sexual, homoerotic under theme here. If you want to talk about that at all, I mean, don't you think that comes in a dialogue of who you guys are and what you're looking at or interested in?
I don't necessarily think of it as being in the collection, except within certain works. I thought it was interesting that Chris chose an awful lot of pictures from our collection like that. At a certain point I had to think about is that a lot of the photography he chose is of men.
Yeah, let's talk about this piece.
But like, this is a piece by a really wonderful artist, Tracy Barron. It's one of the first things we got this, I believe, from her second show. It's called Because I'm a Girl, and a lot of people see it in our apartment, and before they look close, they think, oh, it's like a sexy picture of a guy's torso. But it's called Because I'm a Girl because it's her boyfriend at the time's body after they've had sex, and you can see menstrual blood on him. So to us, it's an interesting and difficult work. It's not a sexy work, I would say.
How about this painting?
It's Michael Williams. We got that. It's probably one of two times we bought work out of a show. In this case, the Armory.
Out of an art fair.
Art fair, excuse me. And it's called Mr. Cook's.
Mr. McCook's.
Mr.
2000.
Haven't I seen his work at Canada?
Yes.
Is that where
we bought it from them at their booth.
It was in their booth the first time they got admitted to the Armory.
Most of the work we buy, we don't really disagree about. We both seem to zone in on it and pick it very quickly. I think Barry wrote somewhere, or said somewhere that within the first hour of seeing something. We either get it or not, and that's what happened in this case.
Almost everything in the collection is decided on in an hour or less of seeing it.
A Ben Godward, right?
Yes.
And a lucky, and this is a test, a lucky day, no?
No, it's Eric Doringer's bootleg of Lucky de Bellevue's work, which much of Lucky's or de Bellevue's work is using what looks like pipe cleaners.
And Eric Dowinger bootleg.
So,
and I think Eric is going to be showing at Gagosian with some of his bootlegs of
great.
what's Edward
Eric's
Shade
work is always
books.
a miniature of the artist he's bootlegging, or a smaller version of it.
But the Ben Godward was actually a gift during a studio visit from a few weeks ago, and he is one of the many artists we first met through Austin and Pocket Utopia here in Bushwick.
So maybe we'll finish with the rock.
All right,
Potato.
that's a good place.
Potato!
It's by Margaret Lee. It's called Katadine.
That's really a potato?
Potato.
It is, which is a kind of potato. It is plaster and paint, and it is modeled on an actual potato grown by Nick Reese at the Shenandoah Project, which is a new artist residency up near Woodstock, where they also have gardens and the artists, if they want, can get involved in helping raise the food for the residency.
And the artist has made other potatoes, and this is one of the series, but has made sculptures of potato shapes in other forms, I think, or other mediums. And she thinks of them as classless, the potato itself being a classless object.
I totally agree with that.
Well, let's wrap it up here. Thank you, Austin,
Thank you.
James, Barry, and Chris, here for the Hoggard Wagner collection at English Kill. And thank you, Kate.